Saturday mornings in Pinebrook were a sacred ritual, not by law, but by unspoken agreement. You could set your watch to the sprinklers, time your pancakes to the hum of mowers, and catch the scent of blooming magnolias just before the sun hit the treetops. And right at the center of this serene suburban symphony was my dad, Elias Farrow. Every Saturday, without fail, Dad would settle into his squeaky green lawn chair beside the flower bed he built when I was 7. Always the same routine: a folded newspaper, a chipped mug of black coffee, strong enough to clean engine parts, and a soft, half smile like he knew something the rest of us forgot. Above the flower bed stood a slender pole, concrete anchored and perfectly upright. From it flew a flag with red, white, green, and black. Not out of defiance, not for politics. For Dad, that flag, Palestinian, was home. Memory loss. His mother, Layla, passed in Ramallah before he could bring her here. That flag was the scent of her jasmine tea, the echo of prayers whispered. During curfews, it was heritage, stitched into fabric. Everyone in Pinebrook knew that everyone except the HOA. Now let me be clear. Our HOA wasn't your typical grumpy boomers with clipboards. Nah, Pinebrook's HOA had evolved into something darker. Over the past year, they'd become obsessed with what they called aesthetic unification. Think Stepford, but make it dystopian. And the board president, Marshall Crane. That man was a suburban Napoleon, rumor had it. He was angling for a private real estate deal with a development firm wanted Pinebrook to look like a brochure. Any cultural marker not in the community design charter was seen as bad for resale value, especially flags that didn't represent shared American values, whatever that means. We got warnings, letters with no names, a flyer about decorum standards, even a suggestion that some symbols could cause discomfort to future investors, whatever. Dad didn't budge. That flag stayed planted like a second spine. Then came June 10th. It started like every other Saturday, birds chirping, kids on scooters. I was mowing near the curb when a dark SUV rolled in. Ford Expedition, tinted windows, no plates, no HOA sticker. It didn't stop like a tourist. It glided like a predator that already picked its prey. 2 men stepped out, late 40s, stocky wearing collared polos, tucked into stiff khakis, like they were going undercover at a golf course. Aviator glasses, walkie-talkies, but no badges, no names, no IDs. My mom, who'd been trimming roses, froze mid-snip. The shorter guy barked, "We're with the Neighborhood Aesthetic Compliance Task Force. That banner violates HOA standards. We'll be confiscating it." Dad didn't flinch, folded his paper, sipped his coffee, then said, calm as ever, "Never heard of that division." "It's newly approved," the man snapped back. "We have full enforcement authority." "You're not wearing IDs," Dad said. That's when the taller one marched straight toward the flag. My mum stepped forward. "Excuse me, that's private property." He didn't even blink, just grabbed the pole and yanked. The concrete base cracked. Earth tore up. Then snap. He broke the pole across his knee, let the flag fall into the dirt. And as if that wasn't enough, he spit on it. For a moment, silence. No birds. No wind, just the sound of blood rushing behind my ears. Dad stood slowly, hands clenched, face unreadable. Not anger, not fear, something deeper, like centuries of silence, waking up all at once. Then came the moment. The taller guy turned and muttered, "Let's bag it." And I lost it. "What the hell are you doing?" I shouted, rushing over. "Stand down." The short one barked. "This is an official action." "No, it's not." I said, "You don't even have badges." And then Dad quietly said, "Tariq's coming." That one sentence changed everything. Because what they didn't know was that my cousin Tariq, former Marine, lived next door. He'd just finished his run when he turned the corner and saw Dad standing over his torn flag. He stopped mid-stride. "What happened here?" he asked. "They broke my flag." Dad replied. Simple, cold final. Tariq didn't yell, didn't sprint, just walked slowly, deliberately, like a storm in human form. The men didn't realize it yet, but their time was up. The shorter guy pulled out a stun gun, civilian-grade, shaky hands. "We're authorized," he said. "You touch us, it's assault." Big mistake. Tariq raised his shirt just enough to reveal a tattoo USMC and a steel brace on his elbow. "You're threatening my family on private property," he said. "You've got two choices, run, or let me teach you something." They didn't run. What followed wasn't a fight. It was a surgical dismantling. Tariq disarmed. The short guy dropped him with an elbow to the gut. The tall one lunged. Tariq pivoted and swept his leg. The guy spun in the air, landed flat on his back in our mulch bed, like a busted mannequin. Silence. Then Dad stepped forward. 67 years old. Arthritis. And with one fluid motion, he twisted. The taser guy's wrist flipped him over his back and slammed him onto the sidewalk so hard, I felt it through the porch. The phones came out. Neighbors emerged. Nobody helped. The fake cops. Nobody wanted to. Sirens screamed in the distance. Real ones. When the police showed up, they asked one question. "Do you want to press charges?" Dad looked down at the men, then at the flag. In Mom's hands, yes, he said, for trespassing, impersonation, vandalism, and spitting on my mother's memory. But that wasn't the end. When cops opened the SUV, everything changed. Inside, a crate full of ripped flags, Palestinian, Korean, Mexican, Vietnamese. A clipboard with hand-drawn maps, lists of homes, notes like non-conforming, banner foreign decor, and final warning, high resistance. It was a hit list. Turns out, these guys were part of a shadow group called Cat Community Aesthetic Task Force, contracted under the table by multiple HOA boards to intimidate and suppress anything visually non-standard. No licenses, no oversight, just thugs with a budget. And you guessed it, Marshall Crane, the HOA president, was on the payroll. Payments labeled compliance ops, traced right to his bank. Public outrage exploded. News vans rolled in. Tweets went viral. One post showed my dad flipping the guy onto concrete with the caption, "They tried to erase heritage, got body slammed by it instead." By the end of the week, flags appeared across Pine Brook. Rainbow flags, nation flags, hand-painted ones by kids, a lawn full of defiance and color. Crane tried to hide, went radio silent. But receipts don't lie. He was subpoenaed, and when emails surfaced with lines like, "Make him an example," it was game over. The two fake enforcers, convicted, sentenced. And as poetic justice, Judge Linton ordered them to clean every flagstone in Pine Brook by hand in pink jumpsuits under the sun, in front of cameras. Tariq watched, arms crossed. Dad sipped his coffee in that same chair, same smile. But this time, he wasn't alone. A new flagpole went up, reinforced, triple-stitched, solar-lit, and bolted into concrete. They poured together. This time, it wasn't just a flag. It was a monument. Months later, someone left a note under our rosebush in purple ink. "Your flag gave me courage. My dad's from Gaza. I never knew how to talk about it until now." Dad keeps that note in his wallet, right beside the only photo he has of his mom. He never talks about the fight. Doesn't need to. The flag flies, stronger than ever. So tell me, have you ever dealt with a power-hungry HOA or seen someone try to erase another's culture under the guise of community standards? Drop your story in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Let's talk about what it really means to belong somewhere.